You have a lot of work to impress me here, James Gunn. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my first impression reaction to Creature Commandos. So for those who don't know, this is the first project of the rebooted DC Universe films and shows. It is headed by James Gunn, who has taken over for this, and it is basically the replacement of the DC Extended Universe. The movies that had Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, all of that in there. This is the replacement for that. And the only thing I think from the previous ones that are going to be canon is Blue Beetle and kind of Peacemaker. I think I heard that part of Peacemaker is not canon to the rest of this, but Peacemaker season 2 will be fully canon. It's a weird, complicated thing when you start a series prior to the actual beginning of the extended universe and everything. But yeah, this is the first actual official start of the universe, of the franchise. This is its first official project. Creature Commandos, I think, is going to have a live action film as well, but this is a series that is animated. And it stars a bunch of characters who are kind of unknowns in DC. It's kind of like how Guardians of the Galaxy were very unknown characters prior to being made into the MCU's films and all. The characters were just not well known. But then the MCU kind of made them a bigger name, a bigger deal. And people started checking out their comics and all because of that. And I think James Gunn who also did the Guardians movies, is trying to do the same thing here with Creature Commandos. Just from what I've gathered, they're kind of a almost Suicide Squad group, except they're all fantasy creature kind of things, or at least the of that. You have Weasel, who is in the second Suicide Squad movie. And I believe he's also being played by Sean Gunn in this as well. So, reprising his role. Even though it's not in the same continuity. But you also have Rick Flag Sr., not the Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad movies. That was Rick Flag Jr. This is his father. And again, I don't think it's actually connected to those movies in any way. You have I think one character is called the Bride, and it's basically a Bride of Frankenstein character. But it's they're like that. Outside of Rick Flag Sr. and I guess Weasel, who's more of just a weird creature. Well, I mean, I guess that still goes with Creature Commandos. But they're all like almost supernatural kind of things going on. So that's pretty much all I know about this. But here's the deal. James Gunn is one of those directors who a lot of people really love, and a lot of people really love his works. I am a lot more critical against him. Because here's the thing. I don't like the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Almost at all. The second one is the worst one by far. It is horrible. It's a bad movie. But the first one's bad too. The third one's the only good one. And that's because it felt less try-hard to me. The Suicide Squad movie, the second one, people try to say oh, it's so drastically better than the first. It's not. It's about the same in quality. because it does some things better than the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, but it does some things worse as well. Um, it's it's basically equatable, and then it's just like this Superman movie that he has like coming out next year. Like, I am very mixed on how I feel about it just from the things we've been hearing. I am not excited, for example, that crypto is going to be in it. I hate crypto as a concept. I think it's fucking stupid. So I am not a fan of that. But like I've seen like the suit design and everything, and it looks good visually. That one promo image that was released looked good. I have no issues with that kind of stuff. And I definitely think James Gunn, of anyone, would be able to properly handle the entire, how do I put it? Handle the fact that Superman is an illegal alien and stuff like that, you know? Because those are concepts and themes that I think, if anyone can handle those, I think James Gunn would be able to. I'm just worried about other stuff with the film. And so it's like, I'm very mixed on James Gunn, and I'm really worried about like this new DCU and how it's going to end up being overall. Um and I for one liked the DCEU for the most part. I mean, I haven't seen everything in it, but I liked pretty much everything I've seen. So it's like, I feel like people were way too harsh on it, especially movies like Wonder Woman 84. It's like, that movie was great. People hating on it just hate fun. It's like, that was very, very good. And it's like, I liked the first Aquaman, haven't seen the second, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to because of Amber Heard. Um, I, I liked the first Shazam, haven't seen the second one, though I want to see that. I just haven't gotten around to it. I haven't seen Blue Beetle, though I do really want to see that. Because that looked really good. But I liked the first Wonder Woman as well. I liked both versions of the Justice League movie. Yeah, I thought it was good in the original, too. I don't think the original version was bad. But I also did like the Snyder Cut. And I'd like the Snyder Cut more, I admit that. But I liked the original, too, and I thought it was fantastic as well. I liked Batman v Superman. I thought that was a good movie. I don't care what anyone says. It's like, I think people were way too harsh on the DCEU, and that's why it ended up failing. Not because of the movies themselves, but because people just refused to give them a chance. Because they were expecting the DCEU movies to be the same as the MCU movies. And when they ended up being different, when they ended up being their own thing, people didn't like that. Because they just wanted the MCU again. So they basically dedicated themselves to hating on the DCEU movies no matter what. And then in some cases, they completely changed their minds on movies, though this happens in everything, not just DCEU. Some people like completely just flipped on movies because of an actor in them and stuff. Like, I still like the first Aquaman movie despite Amber Heard being in it. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie just because Amber Heard ended up being a terrible piece of shit. But, like, people are like, oh, Wonder Woman was never all that good because Gal Gadot ended up, like, you know, siding with Israel in the genocide issue and everything, which, by the way, is extremely fucked up and terrible of her. Like, she sucks. But people, like, after that came out, started saying, like, oh, I never liked her as Wonder Woman anyway. She was always bad. She can't act. And it's like, fucker, you were praising the shit out of her when that first movie came out. Everyone was. Because she is a great actress. I hate it when people turn on actors and, well, okay, that's the wrong way to put it. I hate it when people say actors were were always bad or that they never liked them when something bad comes out about them, because that's so disingenuous. It's like, I fucking love Kevin Spacey as an actor. He was an amazing actor. He's a horrific, evil piece of shit, and I will not support him. But he is an amazing actor. I'm not going to lie and try to say, like, oh, I never liked him. That's so disingenuous, and it actually kind of hurts, like, the point. It's like, the point is, yeah, actors we love can end up being bad people. And we shouldn't put all of our, like, love and faith and just everything into these actors. There's a word for it. I can never remember that word. When people get, like, too attached to actors and stuff, to, like, an unhealthy degree. There is a word for that. I can never remember it. But it's like, yeah, it's like they're just actors. They're people, and they can be flawed. They can have problems. They can be bad people. When you get too attached to them and act like, oh, I never liked them anyway, because you don't want to admit that you were, like, a big fan of them. It's like, that's so unhealthy. It's better to acknowledge that, yeah, you were a fan and you are disappointed by what they became or what they proved they already were. It shows a lot more maturity to be able to admit that. And that's why I admit when I don't like a director, like James Gunn, or when I don't like an actor or something, or when I do. And I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. If something comes out about them and they end up being a terrible person, I'm not going to pretend I never liked them. I'm going to say how disappointing it is that someone I did like ended up becoming, or again, being proven to have already been, a bad person. And I'm going to, like, not want to support them anymore because of that. I'm not gonna let my emotions, like, make me act childish and stupid. You get what I'm trying to go with all this. I'm not great at wording things. If you're newer to the channel, if you're checking it out for this, just to tell you, I'm not good at wording things. I'm bad at, like, properly explaining myself, but I hope you understand what I was trying to mean there. Yeah, with this, I'm just hoping to be proven wrong. I'm hoping that this ends up impressing me. And also, if you're new and don't know what a first impressions is, let's go over that real quick before we begin. So a first impressions reaction is as it sounds. I check out the first episode of a show, sometimes two, but the vast majority of the time, the first episode. And I decide what I think about it after reacting to the first episode. Do I like it? Do I not? And if I do like it, do I want to continue reacting to it? Or would I rather watch it on my own time? And if I don't like it, I drop it. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to watch this first episode of Creature Commandos, and afterwards I'll determine if it's something I want to continue reacting to in the future. It won't be right away, but it will be some point in the future I'll continue reacting to it. If it's something I'd rather watch on my own time, or if it's just not something I'm interested in. If it's something I just don't want to watch. And honestly, this could go any which way. Because it's like, again, I liked Suicide Squad. I didn't think it was that much better than the original, but I liked it. But then you also have, like, Peacemaker from James Gunn, and it's like, I saw the first episode of that, it's like, this is so fucking bad. This is so terrible. So it's like, it could go any which way for me. Let's find out. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day, Horizon Forbidden West on Mondays and Fridays, Tuesdays and Thursdays is Life is Strange, Wednesdays and Sundays is Red Dead Redemption 2, and on Saturdays we have Nier Automata. A lot of great gaming content every day. Don't forget to click the link in the description below to follow it to today's reaction. I redirect everything just due to copyright reasons. And please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I'm noticing, I think James Gunn really likes the most immature, stupid of humor. Because, like, the kind of humor you'd see in, like, Family Guy or Rick and Morty, it feels like was the kind of humor you'd see in here. Almost nothing about this was funny. There was maybe one or two things that gave me like a slight chuckle, but it's like most of the humor here was just immature garbage. It wasn't anything. And it's just... For a series that is very clearly supposed to be comedic in nature, it's clearly a comedy show, that's not a great sign when I don't find it funny. I mean, I know it's subjective, of course. I know a lot of people are probably going to like this, but a lot of people also like Rick and Morty and Family Guy, so... It's like what you like, I don't have to understand it. I don't have to get it, I don't have to agree with it. But you're allowed to like whatever you like. I'm allowed to dislike whatever I dislike. There's a lot of stuff in here that just didn't really track for me as well. It's like, I think the first two episodes were both released together, and maybe it's like some things would connect better with any kind of reveals or something in the second episode. But, like, there's a lot of questions about all of this, and a lot of things that just don't make sense. Like, the bride being surprised when they arrive in this place, in this country, I can't remember what it's called at the moment. But it's like, wouldn't you have been briefed on this? Like, even if Waller didn't brief you, because I believe she probably wouldn't, Flag would have. It's like they would have absolutely known where they were going. That would not have been a surprise. And then it's like, I'm trying very hard here to find a way to vocalize my thoughts with this. The princess she like gives off massive bad guy vibes. Like, this is a really out there comparison to make, but hear me out. Have you ever seen the anime Akame ga Kill? Specifically the first episode. If not, and if you just, I guess, don't want spoilers, it's an older anime by this point. It's like 2015 or something. Maybe even 2014. If you don't want spoilers, I guess skip ahead a little bit. But the first episode of Akame ga Kill involves the main character ending up staying after, like, there's, like, an accident or attack or something. I think it was involving, like, a dragon or something like that. But they end up staying at the house of, like, this wealthy girl. It's like this girl who seems, like, super nice and innocent, and it ends up being found out that she's horrifically fucked up, that she loves to torture the lower class, torture and kill them, and that both of the main characters' friends have been, tortured and killed. And it's very horrific and fucked up and disturbing. This princess gives me those same vibes. Like, especially when she's trying to get with Flag, it just felt to me like she would have killed him while they were fucking. Like she would have stabbed him in the throat. It just she gives me the vibes. Plus with the way that her soldiers and all act, it just gives me the vibes that this is a massive trap. And that might be revealed in the second episode, but it's like there's nothing that seems reliable about this. And it almost kind of seems like maybe the sons of Themyscira, and I guess Cersei as well, are probably not the bad guys in this case. Maybe they're going after this country for a reason. I mean, you never know, right? It just seems like it just seems very suspicious. Also, speaking of the soldiers and all, that entire scene where they're like pulling the pranks and referencing all the very out of date references, it's like that was so cringy and not in a good way. Like there's certain times where cringiness can be used for positive effect, for humor and fun and everything. That was just unwatchably cringy, unenjoyably, unwatchably cringy. That was so bad. That was actively so unbearably bad. Um, I just I felt like the pacing was off too. And I can't even entirely explain how. It felt like it was like certain points went a little quick and then some points went a little slow. It also just feels like a ripoff of the Suicide Squad. I know it's basically a it basically is. Like they kind of admitted that. It's like it's a new Task Force X, except they're calling it Task Force M, M for monster. You didn't need to fucking explain that, by the way. Um, but it's like Waller's way of getting around the fact that she's not legally allowed to use humans anymore. It's basically just the Suicide Squad again. And they basically admit that. And it's like you have Weasel, but it's like other than that, it's like this is not even like similar in vibe really. It's like it feels like a ripoff. It feels like a shameless, uninteresting ripoff of the Suicide Squad. Except the characters are less likable, less interesting, and are very clearly like weird as bait. As bait to try and get people interested because they're quote unquote different. And it's like this feels so manipulative. Nothing about it feels natural or believable. Nothing about it feels in any way, shape, or form fun. It's not that entertaining. It's not funny. Honestly, I don't see the appeal. This is not a good first impression for the DCU for me. I just I did not like this that much. There were it wasn't all bad. There were some things to enjoy, like the visuals. The art style itself is fine. It's not like amazing, but the actual animation, especially like during the Flag versus Phosphorus fight, was fantastic. I will admit that. Um, I thought the voice acting was good. I had no issue with any of the voice acting. I thought the soundtrack was fucking weird. I will say that. Not bad, but not good either. Just kind of weird. Like, the choices were clearly made to be silly. It's like you chose the weirdest, silliest, goofiest ass songs possible. And it's just like, I don't really think these work with the scenes that you have them in, or just at all. And it's just, I don't get it. I think in the end, that's the biggest thing. I don't get what the appeal of this is supposed to be. I don't understand, like, how this is supposed to be entertaining. And if you find this good, like I said before, you're entitled to like what you like. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because it's subjective. And I've watched things that I hate a lot more than this. I want to make clear. This is by no means the worst thing I've seen, even recently. But it's not that good. Just off of initial impressions, if I were to give it like a rating out of 100, or why 100? Why did I say 100? A rating out of 10, with like 10 being the best, of course. I'd maybe give it like a 4, 4.5. Like I said, not the worst, but not good. This is definitely not something I plan to react to. I'm not going to be reacting to it. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it on my own time. I might watch the second episode just to see like how this continues. And maybe I'll check out a reaction or two, but I'm not like super invested in doing so. Because if I'm being completely honest here, I just wasn't a fan of this. I just I wasn't a fan. I don't think it was good. And honestly, I'm not 100% surprised. I was hoping for better, but I don't think I'm going to get it. Not with this series. Maybe something else in the DCU will work, but this was not good. It just wasn't. At least for me. Like I said, it's all subjective. You have your own opinions on it, whatever. For the time being, though, tell me in the comments below, I guess, what you thought of this first episode of Creature Commandos. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.